Recording in 3, 2, 1. Good evening. This is Animal on Control. Welcome to the voice chat. These calls are pre-recorded for upload to social media, and by joining a call, you are consenting to being recorded. Anyone wishing to join a call should email me at animaloncontrol@gmail.com, and I will reply with instructions. Today's topics: purged from NextDoor, and a police weapon fails. Joining me is Huntress. What is up?
Hey, trying to survive the heat here.
Trying to survive.
Pretty hot.
Well, it's a dry heat, right?
Yeah, well, but you know what? The dogs are inside too.
Well, that's good.
They're shutting their asses up right now.
Well, it's a dry heat, but so is an oven. So is ground zero of an atom bomb blast.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather take this than the cold any day. Okay, so there. I guess.
Yeah, so you and I can communicate quite a bit in the background. It's like I said, it's been a while. I guess back in January, I was overwhelmed with work and personal issues, and I wasn't getting the results out of this that I wanted, and people had come back with some, sort of interesting ideas. I could do more short form stuff or whatever, and I'm fine with that. In fact, I just put out a short form video last weekend. Yum, yum.
I've seen posts. I didn't know if I saw a video.
You didn't see that? No, I posted a video last weekend. Actually, I was reading. It was a poem I'd written last decade. I'd done a bunch of anti-dog poetry, that's really snarky bent to it. And everybody should check it out. It's about shooting pit bulls and eating them, and it's pretty fun stuff. So everybody should check that out. But it was interesting because the most popular content that I produce are these long form podcasts. Maybe they're technically not podcasts, but for practical purposes they are, and that's what gets the most views, at least on my channel. So I could maybe break them up into chapters, or do a create a trailer or whatever. And I'd really like to get caught up with some folks. I know you and I have been communicating quite a bit in the background. I've also been doing so with many other people. So with those folks, don't feel left out. I'll get caught up with folks later, because one piece of feedback I did get was that the best sessions was when it was just me and one other person. Not that I'll always do that, but I don't know if that was your impression. But
yeah, I don't know. Do you know that you person?
No.
They were in the chat and they asked, well, does anyone know what happened to animal control? Really want to, see his videos. I miss them.
Well, tell
and
me.
I happen to be in there. So I spoke on your, I said, well, we've been itching to bitch. So, we're talking on the side, and I think he's getting ready to do it. So he goes, oh, good. Or she, I don't know who that person is.
Not that, I'd like to get, more people on too, get some, obviously the, the quote regulars are always welcome back, 100%. But, it's always interesting to get some new people on. And I invite people on to say, oh, well, I'm not the best public speaker. And I say, yes, if I am.
It's a little intimidating,
After a while, you get used to it.
Yeah, it's fun. I can see. I bet Joe Rogan loves his job, man. Just shooting the shit with people. That sounds like a lot of fun, because I like that being a reporter. When I was a newspaper reporter, I wasn't in the office. I was always out talking to people. Some guy who invented something for an elevator, or some guy who saved a kid from getting run over by a car or just a lot of stories that I did. And I sound like an idiot because I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah,
But
that's
what I liked about being a reporter, just talking to different and new people all the time.
It's fun, and I enjoy doing these, but a lot of work goes into them. There's a time. Well, first of all, there's the whole setup. As you noted, it's like, okay, what's a good time? Are you available this time or that time, or who can show up? What do you want to talk about? What don't you want to talk about? Right? Because I don't want to really. I'm not here to grill anybody. Like if somebody in our space wants to get just like roasted, it's like go to one of the pro dog forums. Like they'll roast you all you want. I don't need to do that. Even though I do challenge,
no.
I do not agree with everyone else in this space 100%. But you don't agree with anyone 100%. So that's cool. I think it was Ronald Reagan said if you agree with somebody 80% of the time, you got an ally. And I think there's something to be said.
Work on the issues that you agree with. You might not agree politically or anything else, but certain issues are like, these are human or health and safety or whatever issues.
Yep.
Let's work on that together.
Yeah, particularly though if you agree on, the basics. In other words, like, what are you for? And that's where, like, we fall out with these. We call them, the ADEP people, the all dogs except pits. And that's come up because you and I discussed that in the background. But the problem with those people, in a nutshell, is they're dogs first. They're dog owner first. So their attitude is like, yeah, I want a public policy environment where I can just completely fuck you over, but without pit bulls. And it's like, you know what? Fuck them, right? Seriously. Because that's the thing, is really they're part of the problem. So I don't know, maybe if you get a sane dog person that doesn't believe that, it's like, okay, maybe, but most of those people, they'd cut you up and feed you to the Rottweiler in 2 seconds. And that's not somebody I want to ally with. So.
Yeah, no. I'm just zero. Yeah. Did I send you the article in the San Francisco? I think it was SF Gate, maybe?
Maybe.
About dogs at farmers markets and inside food places, and the person was saying there's a California law just absolutely says there's no dogs allowed around food, health code, whatever.
Right.
But people don't listen to the rules.
Of course.
Oh, and there was another story I saw today. This lady got busted in New Zealand. There's no dogs allowed in their national parks at all, period, 100%. And this lady took pictures next to the no dog signs with her holding her dog, and then another one with her 5 dogs in the snow in this national park. Someone turned her in. She got fined only $400. But still, she was trying to look at me.
Well, that's a way that's a problem. They're the most. They're extremely defiant. They see no dogs as a challenge. They break the rules intentionally. That's why we have this problem. That's why. Sometimes it's like imposing rules against them makes the problem worse. Because if you say no dogs in restaurants, then that actually motivates them to take their dog to the restaurant. If you say no pit bulls, that motivates them to get more pit bulls. They're like reflexively defiant. I wrote some stuff down. My brain is not funcking at.
No, I'm a morning. my brain is stronger in the morning.
A lot of the for the past couple of years, pretty much everything's been Saturday morning, which is peak for me and probably peak for a lot of people. But yeah, they're totally audacious, and they have this. I don't know what's the term I'm looking for. It's they're self-righteously indignant That's the word I'm looking for. They're self-righteously indignant. And that was a segue into, probably my first topic was I got, kicked off of NextDoor. I mean NextDoor. And, we'll know about NextDoor. But, for people.
But you can join the club.
Yeah, for folks who don't know, NextDoor is a social media site where you can connect with people who live in your community, say within 2-3 miles or 4 or 5 kilometers, say. And, in my case, I was, a verified member and everything. Full name, photograph, not exact address, but anybody who has my name who lives around here, you can just go to the county clerk's website, pop it in, and get my precise street address. So, and I'd been vocal on there about these dog problems, lots of off-leash dogs and dog attacks and so forth, right? So I was basically out, at least locally, I'm out of the closet as a dog critic, or at least as a critic of dogs in society. Again, get my full name on it and everything. And and it's interesting because I think you sent me something too, how there's there's often a push to say, okay, we need to eliminate anonymity on the internet, right? Everybody, if you want to participate, we need full name, the social security number, mother's maiden name, first grade teacher, everything about you. But what's ironic is, and I guess the thought is, or the premise is, well, that'll make people more civil, more polite, etc., etc. And I call total fucking BS on that. First of all, I shouldn't have to give all that information anyway. I mean, the site can ask for what they want. If NextDoor wants to go that way, they can ask for whatever they want. Whether we want to give it to them or not is up to us. So anyway, but I was a fully verified member, been on there for, a long time. And of course, I was outed as a, not really a dog critic. It's look, I just want dog people to obey written community codes. That's it. It's just like saying, you know what, I think people who drive cars should stop at red lights. It's hardly a radical idea. Okay, it's not like I'm trying to implement Soviet Marxism or anything like that, right? It's very, very basic stuff, or should be, okay? So I think I told you, and I posted some to the community page where it was, I'd had some visuals, and, bear with me, because I can always edit out this video, my neighborhood, but maybe I'll just draw a crude paint. So just to give you folks an idea. So, but we had a pit bull at large, and you can see my paint, right? Even if it looks small.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you kind of take a look at my neighborhood, we'll just draw a couple of homes real quick. So let's say this is my house. This is my next door neighbor's house, right? And this is the street. This is the across the street neighbor. This is the one I've had kind of problems with also, right? Very rudimentary. They're not directly across the street, kind of across at an angle. And sort of on the upper and lower right here, this is a dead-end street. So surrounding all this is forest, okay? And this, I kind of like the setup, generally speaking, because it should be pretty peaceful back here. I only have a close neighbor on one side, forest to the north on top, to the east, and across the street, I sort of have an across the street neighbor. Actually, it was the prior occupant of this across the street home was what woke me to this issue. Because what they did was here, they had an outdoor dog kennel, and they barked and barked and barked and barked. And then when they were done barking, they barked some more. And the only way I got to stop was I threatened to sue him. I sent him a certified letter. I said, basically, I said, silence your dogs or I'll see you in court. And that did it. So that got rid of that. They were gone. Woohoo. And I've had other problems. Actually, it was a year later, they got another dog and blah, 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 blah. But here's what happened. This was probably 6 weeks ago. I forget. So you see, like, my house here is in the upper right. So I'm basically here, right? Maybe I'll just do this. So I'm like here. And because I was taking the garbage out, and I have to secure my trash to keep the raccoons and the at-large dogs out of it. So I've got a side door. You know, there's a side door right here. You can see that. So, I'm out here. And normally, I don't go outside unless I have a weapon, unless I've got at least a can of pepper spray. But I was like, I'm just taking so I took the trash out. And this is like Saturday night. So what do I see, right, because I'm kind of facing the side of the house here. I'm kind of facing this way. And I see an at-large, it's basically an enormous pit bull, a big, like, XL bully coming at me from this direction, right? And I'm like, oh, shit. Now I'm realizing it's like, I knew I forgot something, right? And you notice here, like, it's kind of private back here, but then, like, at the same time, there's a man coming at me from this direction, right, from the south. So this is the man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the dog. Okay. And so this guy this is kind of a private area back here, and this guy's just strolling up. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, he's friendly. He'll lick you to death. He loves everybody. He just wants to say hi." But what's interesting was, as soon as he came up, right? As soon as he gets here, what does the dog do? You're talking about how dogs are dogs are loyal. What does the dog do after he sees the owner? The dog takes off in this direction, right? I guess dogs are just so loyal. So it's like, seriously, it's like the dog's running at me, and he's maybe 20 feet away. He sees the owner, and the dog runs off the other direction. So this guy's here, and he's going, "Oh, he's friendly. He loves everybody. He just wants to say hi." And I was like, you know what? And I was kind of put my hands up, said, "Look, he just ran the other way." I pointed. Just go get him, okay? Just because he's on my property. This is a space that I pay for. Okay, and then he proceeded back this way, and I guess he got him and left. So that was Saturday. So fast forward, it was Sunday night, right? Sunday night, at least I can get rid of this stuff, right? So now we fast forward to Sunday night, right? And I'm inside. What do I hear? I hear this big commotion out here. Right? So what do I see? I see same dog, same owner. They're basically just running around my front yard. Again, the dog's got no collar. He's got no leash, right? There's also a vehicle here. It was a white Chevy Colorado. I always take note of these things. And you notice also, like, all this stuff, like the incident the night before, I have Ring cameras all the way around. So all this.
Oh yeah, I got cameras all over too.
All this is. Well, that thing is, the rings really kind of suck. They don't always go off, but so I didn't record everything, but it recorded enough, basically. So there's this car here, and he's like running around. Of course, now I'm pissed because it's like, you know what? He's making no attempt to. The dog's got no collar. He's got no leash. They're just basically, he's just using my front yard as a dog park. right? And I let it go once, as I often do. I did let it go. I said, night before, I was like, whatever. I'd never seen the guy before, ever. So he wasn't, he wasn't one of these two neighbors. So, or really anybody else in the street. But I went out, now I'm pissed. So now I'm like I'm like getting pissed off. I was like, dude, look, this county has a leash law. You need to get him under control right now. And the guy, again, it's all this, he gets all uppity about it, it's all this self-righteous indignation, because now I'm out here, right? He's here. And the guy's going, he's friendly. He loves everybody. He's, the best boy. He's going on and on. Like, that doesn't matter. What matters is you're breaking the law and you're in my space, you're trespassing, and you need to stop doing it, right? So now, but rather than just like grab the dog and leave, he escalates. So he whips out his phone and he's like holding it up. He's pointing at my direction, and you can see he's totally like he's got that indignation like ramped up to an 11. Like he's like just outraged that I'm expecting him to, obey the law, respect my property rights. No. He's all pissed. So he starts so then I say to him, oh, you're recording? Record this. This is 2 days in a row you've been breaking the county leash laws. Now, again, you're in my space giving me a ration of shit. Did you get all of that? Did you? Is that recorded? Send me a copy, right? And now he's like, but now it's like, okay, now the indignation drops because, he's like, oh, shit, like this guy is not backing down. He's not, just going to fold up like everybody else does. But then it became, now he's backing off. And I didn't have a weapon this time either, but I could have easily beat the shit out of this guy, so it didn't matter. But, but then he says something really interesting. He says, you don't belong here. You damn Northerners. You need to go back where you came from, you damn Yankee. And I said, look, pal, I've lived here 15 years. I'm not going anywhere. But I thought that was really interesting. That was an angle. They'd never go back where I came from. Now, it's interesting is, I do have this very distinctive mid-Atlantic accent, and people pick up on that. Now, what's really ironic is that he's like, damn Northerner, you fucking, I think he called me a fucking Yankee. And I was like, what's really ironic is fact. My great-great-grandfather fought for the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Take that whatever way you want to take it. But it's like, oh, yeah, I got to go home. I got to go. And not only that, but I have family in this country going back to the 1600s. And it's family lore is there's some Native American ancestry also, but I don't have receipts on that, so I don't do anything with it.
Yeah, same here. My dad's side is all
but it's sort of
it was Irish, but coming in, there was one Civil War guy that started having kids very young, like age 13 or 14. So that's one of my relatives, naughty.
But it's sort of
little man.
It came from. But here's what's really interesting, because I posted some stuff about this on NextDoor. So I checked my NextDoor feed because I commented. It's like, look, people. I'm trying to be. People really need to control their pets pursuant to written community codes. But what happened was there was an avalanche, no exaggeration, of comments all along the same lines. And I don't know if this guy knew people or what the deal was. They're saying, we don't want you people around here. You need to go home. You don't belong.
Wow.
People like you don't belong in Florida. Fuck off. Go back to North Korea. And all this shit. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It was just an avalanche of that kind of abuse. So, of course, me, being who I am, I said, wow, I had no idea there were so many full-blooded Timucua on this site. The Timucua was the Native American tribe that once upon a time occupied this North Florida area. And some people came back, they're like, ha ha ha, I see what you're doing here. But I replied, I was like, you know what, fuck you. Fuck all you people. I said, my family's been in this country since the 1600s. My ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War. They fought on both sides of the Civil War. It was my dad's ancestors who were the Confederates. My mom's ancestors were Unionists. And a whole shitload of them fought to the death in that fucking war. And I don't, you know what? I don't feel like I deserve any credit for what they did. I don't deserve any blame for what any of these people did. But what I really don't like is somebody telling me to go back where I came from. Fuck that shit. And fuck these dog people. Where the hell are they coming up with that shit from? You know, because for all they know, I could be a 10th generation Florida person or a 100th generation. But it was a whole new...
Well, your people are braver. When I would just comment like dogs don't belong in stores, it's a biohazard, someone said, you know, that's bullshit, and then block me. But most people just blocked me when they saw that I wasn't, you know, 95%. If you were to drop all the dog shit that was in my local NextDoor, there would be nothing except people going, I'm at the recycling center and can someone come pick me up and I need some cash for that would be all there was.
Well, that's like with mine.
It was mostly dog shit. My dog is lost. I'm rehoming. Oh, you know, it was just dog. I was calling it dog door.
Yeah, next.
You know.
But I thought that was really interesting was that, and you know, in a way, there's kind of something to be said for what they're talking about, because Florida's had a big influx of, you know, sort of internal migrants, particularly from the Northeast. And I respect the fact that, and this could go for anybody anywhere, right? That, you know, people come in, you want them to assimilate, right? Particularly if you know, based on the reason they came here. Because, like, for example, and this comes up quite a bit, was that, you know, people relocate here from the Northeast. And I know, like, some other Northeasterners, I think Shlomophobe made the point. It's like, you know, I was talking about, I think he lives in Long Island. And I'm from northeastern New Jersey, and the taxes, the property taxes, are really, really high. I mean, even like in some places, like just an average suburban house will be $20,000 a year. It's crazy.
Dang.
You know, so, and that's what motivates, one reason it motivates people to come here. So it's like you can go from everything else being equal, you can go from $20,000 a year to $3,000 a year. And but what happens is, but people do that, but then they don't realize so they move down here and they say, you know, my neighborhood, we don't have sidewalks. You know, I want sidewalks just like my hometown in Connecticut, right? They say, okay, look, you know, the sidewalks cost money, right? There's trade-offs being made here. You want to cut your property tax bill 80% and spend that money on something else? Great. But, again, there's trade-offs, like some of that infrastructure stuff. So I kind of respected, people who, lifelong residents, don't want people relocating here and saying, oh, we got to basically trying to make it like where they came from. But the thing is, like these dog laws, these are very common sense rules that have been on the books for 100 years. Kind of you're talking about like dogs in restaurants and grocery stores. It wasn't like they allowed dogs everywhere until, 10 years ago, and now like the New Jersey people are trying to reverse it. No, really, it's the opposite. right? They were banned everywhere, and now they've been allowing them back in again. So really what I'm trying to do is like, yeah, let's keep Florida, Florida. Like, let's make Florida great again. You know, because, you know, up until about 2002, there were no dogs in state parks. None. Period.
Yeah.
And then they started, and then they said, okay, they had a pilot program. And now you've got dogs in parts of the parks where they're still technically not allowed. It says no dogs on beach, but there's like dogs everywhere. So yeah, it's like hardly. So it's like, look, I'm not trying to implement Soviet Marxism or Sharia law or some shit like that. I'm just saying that, you know, these common sense laws that have been on the books for 100 years, you know, should be adhered to. That's it. Right? So, but anyway, snark back, but based on that, I got kicked off. And they didn't really say why. It's like, okay, they said, here's a list of reasons. Interestingly, one of them was racism. And I always try to be really sensitive. And I don't know if it was my Timucua statement, because they said in that comment, I was like, yeah, what are you, like a full-blooded Timucua? I was like, go back to Europe, white man. So I don't know if maybe that would set it off. Are you racist against Native Americans? Are you racist against European American, or not, you know, Native Americans or European Americans or whatever? But, you know, it's just me being snarky. I just couldn't resist. I had to take a jab at him, because, like, you know what, assholes, no matter how long you've been here, somebody's been here longer. So cut that shit out. Either the idea makes sense or it doesn't.
Well, and the whole, because on our side over here on the left coast, it's, well, I don't know, the La Raza thing and whatever, and it's like, oh, that was part of my reason, because that I got kicked off NextDoor after the dogs. I got timed out a couple of times making comments about, you know, a blind person could tell that's a pit bull, someone trying to rehome, called it an Australian cattle dog, whatever. But then after Trump won, it was like, it was being blamed on the cost of eggs and the plane crashes, this, that, the other thing, and whatever. And I kept refuting. I was doing, you know, looking up pictures that this woman would post. And it's like, why are you posting a picture from 2017? You know? So I kept getting her because she was a freaking shit lib. Okay. And I'm independent. Okay. I was a Democrat for a long time, but I'm just independent now. But, the whole, oh, well, this belongs to them. And it's like, how far do we play give back? Do we go back to the first or the second Peloponnesian War?
Yeah.
And play give back to all this land? I mean, stop, everybody.
Needs to happen. It's like that we need to, you know, the what was it? The Cro-Magnon, you know, stole the earth from the Neanderthals. So we need to fix that first. That's what needs to happen.
Well, actually, I am one of the 0.2 whatever that are actual Neanderthal, which are not the Cro-Magnon.
I am not paying you reparations. Not going to happen.
I don't need reparations. No, I don't believe in any of that stuff. No, man.
Let's not go too far down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, let's not.
But I thought it was sort of interesting that, and maybe that's what I'm raising for the folks, was that was a new one. Right, like I'd never been, or nor had I seen anyone attacked at that level, or in that way.
Yeah, man, your next door is spicy. Mine they just probably DM'd each other. Oh, that bitch! I want her to die.
They, you know, because he started that. Because that was all he had, was like, you know, too. It was like he's got all this self-righteous indignation. Like, how dare you tell me that your private property is not a dog park? You know, he's all, oh. How dare you tell me to obey the law? Like, go back where you came from, you communist or whatever. And I never go back I'd never been attacked that way. And it was interesting, and then on NextDoor over the next day or two, there was an avalanche of that stuff, all directed at me. And, what messed up is, and again, I'm a certified member. I'm up there with my full name, my neighborhood, which means all they got to do is go to the county clerk's website.
Yeah, well, don't tell everybody that.
Yeah. Well, but that's.
I have my ways too, but still.
But so it's like, I'm totally out of the closet with it, at least locally, right? And they chose to attack me that way, and I thought it was really interesting. But I guess it just shows like how the nutter position is totally bankrupt. You got to attack. Somebody says, oh, yeah, leash your dog. And what do? They attack your ancestry. Oh, you don't belong here. Or your citizenships. It doesn't matter. So what if I'm an illegal immigrant with a dozen deportation orders? That's irrelevant. The point stands. Control your dog, nutters. Enough.
Well, that's a microcosm of why there's no legislation. There's not many legislators that want to be the person that says we gotta clamp down on this shit because it's getting a little bit too much. There's major mutt fatigue in this country, and it's just unsavory and. It also makes me wonder, are they trying to push it? Because I know India was trying to push for dog personhood or whatever, so that they would have even more protections or whatever.
They need more protections. Yeah.
but it's a microcosm. People are afraid because that's how they're going to get attacked. They're going to get attacked.
Well, that's the thing is
just say some legislator says, well, let's start putting some laws in. Oh, you ain't even from around these parts here. Get out of here.
Even if we have, the proper laws in place, and even if we have gold standard enforcement, like we've got animal control and police, all have the proper orientation. Still, you need cooperation. Whether I bring up, it's they need cooperation from the public, right? So if there's a pit bull ban and your next door neighbor is breeding pit bulls, they can't be everywhere. They need you to report that. But the problem is that anybody that tries to invoke the law is, like I said with me, is just burned at the stake. That's the problem. It's you become...
Well, that's what we're up against.
You become an absolute pariah. I mean, my reputation here, talk about people the term crusader is used, and I think perhaps it's thrown around too loosely, but based on what I've done here, my reputation here is completely trashed. It's gone, right? I am hated. Either I'm hated by everybody, or anybody who would stand up for me is afraid to do so because of the
of
the mutt mafia. That's why this happens, and that's what makes this such a difficult, or one reason it makes it a difficult problem to solve. And ironically, many of these people are probably doctrinaire law and order types. But it's oh yeah, dog people should obey the law. And it's die! I'm gonna rip out your eyes and skull fuck you. Go back to North Korea, you communist bastard. They just lose their shit. It's no different than saying, you know what? People who drive cars should stop at red lights. You say, you're a hater! Why do you want to kill everyone who drives a car? Why do you want everyone to walk everywhere?
Oh, God.
You hate them all! No. It's I drive. I'm not against cars or drivers or even car culture. It's just a very common common sense rule that's been on the books forever, and it just, promotes public safety. But like when it comes to dogs, all that goes out the window. But then people wonder, why do we have so many dog attacks? Like with this pit bull running loose, right? This dog could easily kill the one that, I was discussing earlier. Excuse me. This dog could easily...
Are you sneezing? Bless you.
No, I've had a cough for a while. Pardon me for... I've had a cough for a while, and finally I went to the doctor, and they think I have asthma. And I need to go back for some more tests. Like, who the fuck gets asthma in their 50s? Like, what the hell? But whatever. I go, I guess that'd be you, homie. But whatever. What was I talking about? Yeah, but the dog that I saw that day, like this XL bully, this dog could easily take down and kill a grown man. Like, if that dog attacks you and you don't have a weapon, you're fucked. You're fucked. And you know what? That's not a pet. It's not a pet.
No.
Shit like that should not be allowed in neighborhoods. Forget about
gross.
running around loose. They shouldn't be allowed at all. Ever.
There was a sign that I drove by every morning. Now they taped something, but I caught it a few times. I saw it and I thought, oh, they're selling, tamales or something, come get them here. But then traffic was slow enough where I could see it. And it's like, pit bull, Cane Carso puppies, blah, 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 and call this number. And it's like, thanks, asshole. Yeah. There's a lot of that here. Yeah. I don't like, I'm here because my mom is.
We might be nearing the end of the pit bull era because...
Oh, I don't know. That recent football player that got confiscated 109 of his pit bulls. Wait for the Michael Vick revival thing.
Well, I'm thinking
Michael Vick revival.
You're man on the stray dog person because it's kind of like a drug, right? You need like more and more to get the same hit out of it. And I'm thinking, I don't say even with the dog fighting, it's like, pit bulls they just don't give the kick that maybe some of these other dogs do, like Corsos or Praces. Not making a prediction, but pit bulls could fall into the number 2 or the number 3 slot for dog bite related fatalities. And that's the other thing I wanted to say real quick. Because I follow dogsbite.org. I'm actually a paid supporter. And Colleen had done such a great job documenting at least the dog bite related fatalities in the U.S. I mean, each one would be like a 5-page blog giving all the details, everything from like coroner's reports, police reports, press releases, statements from the victim's family and from the dog owner, and all this stuff. How it relates to others. It was just A+ scholarly work. I was always so impressed. But she hasn't been blogging the deaths, though, the last 6 months or so. And I've been meaning to, and it's one of those things, like she and I have been acquainted for a long time, and actually she was on one of these calls a while back, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, I listened to that. That was good.
Yeah, that was.
You want to talk about someone who's hated? Yeah, that poor woman is. And I see people, they got all false. That's all fake stuff. And it's like, how is it fake? She's pulling news articles. And I didn't know there was coroner reports and stuff.
Coroner reports, police reports.
Yeah. How is that fake, you weirdos? How is that fake?
But she even brought that up in the call. But she hasn't been blogging those things recently. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, what's up? And I've been meaning to contact her, but I hadn't spoken to her recently, and you kind of fall out of touch with somebody, and then it's sort of like you and I have been in touch quite a bit the past whatever several months. I hadn't been communicating with her. You don't talk to somebody for a while, but Colleen, if you're listening, definitely look me up if we can help.
Yeah, Colleen.
I'd really like to get that stuff back out there. Like I said, it's superb work. It's very useful, in a lot of ways. But I think part of the problem is that I think that this year, the dog bite related fatalities, it's just completely out of control.
It's almost daily. Now, see, that's going to work against them eventually somehow. It's crazy. Thomas Massey follows me on Twitter. I don't know if he has me muted, but I'm posting the dog attacks, every single day. So, yeah, a lot of people have muted me on Twitter as well. And someone even challenged me about it or whatever. And even one of the British reporters, with pictures. Oh yeah, hey, anybody against pit bulls? And here she is laying in bed with her pit bull or whatever. It's like, whatever. Okay, mute away, people, mute away. Yeah. Hopefully Thomas Massey hasn't, but hopefully someone ballsy like him will see. Hey, man, every single day there's a dog attack.
Why is she not keeping up with this stuff? And I'm thinking maybe.
Well, hopefully it's not health problems.
Yeah, or maybe it's just too many of them. Because I was picked up on some the other day. There were three dog bite related fatalities in July, just in Alabama, and that's the other thing I emphasize. Yeah. People know about. Right, because I think a lot of this stuff is just swept under the rug for various reasons.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, don't. If you tell the ER, they're going to confiscate your dog.
Right, exactly.
Well,
these were
and
deaths,
that kind of stuff.
But even the kind of thing, maybe even deaths. It's like these dog cultists value their dogs more than their kids. So if the dog kills a kid, they're probably just write it off as an accident. Keep the dog. That would not surprise me one bit. Even if that hasn't been reported yet, that's happened. That has happened.
Okay. So I'm elder Gen X, and the neighbor 2 doors down had a German Shepherd, and the guy was trying to secure the fence or something, and the dog got nervous for some reason, impending storm or something, and it bit him. The dog was gone the next day. I didn't like it. It was always, it's scared, but at least it had a fence around it, and, it never charged or jumped over the fence. But that was it. And I was a little bit shocked, like, oh, it bit him, and they took it away, and it was gone. But I was, like a tween. And I just thought, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know. First of all, his own dog bit the man, and the man said, nope.
Well,
to the pound with thee.
That wasn't just tolerated, it was expected. Because
oh yeah.
My case, when I was about 5, we had my family had a boxer, and she bit me. Next day, boom, deleted. Gone.
There's no shortage either. There's no shortage, particularly of pit bulls. The annoying part about Reddit is that you have to scroll on your timeline is a bunch of death row pit, and all these like romance novel writings about, oh, she will be there when you wake up, and oh yes, and tender, blah blah blah. But don't let her around kids. Don't let her around grandma. Don't have any other pets. Don't go to the dog park. but
then they're like,
so
he said, I'm
sensuous
gonna,
and lovely, and you will just be so happy with this dog.
Fighting him at the funeral for the police officer killed in the Midtown mass shooting.
they will
No,
say that my voice is starting to go, but
15 seconds
you know
of
what,
terror,
police
starting
dogs
when the
needed
dog
to
darted
go,
out of a car.
because I wanted to juxtapose this with the issue with those 6 hour service pistols and how it's like 18
Police say the man who was attacked will be okay. The dog is with the Suffolk County Police Department. It escaped through a car door that was ajar.
What's being played here? How many, like, thousands, hundreds, or thousands of
The
times
incident
has
is under
this
investigation.
happened? And they're like, oh, it's all good because it involves a dog, so of course it's all good. And that wasn't even that bad, right? Because that didn't get anybody killed. There was nobody seriously injured, but I wanted to
No, but the comments of the people on Twitter were like, "Yeah, good doggy. I hope he got extra treats afterward." The dude was just standing there. Okay,
Exactly.
he was wearing a robe or whatever,
like,
but
if you
he wasn't doing anything.
rewatch this, let's do this settings, playback speed. We'll do it at like 25%. Then play it again.
Darted out of a car.
Right, so watch you this. Okay, so play it back at 25%. So the dog comes out, right? So it kind of just runs out. So it jumps up. It almost attacks this guy, the guy with the umbrella, he's not a suspect. He's not fleeing police. He's not trying to knife anybody to death. He's just standing there with the. Well, of course, they're going to say, well, the dog was provoked. It's like because I guess the umbrella provoked him. So first he tries to attack this guy, right? Then he goes and then he tries to attack this guy who is, hanging off the tree with a drink in his hand. He's not a suspect either, right? Because remember, this was at a funeral. They're not busting a drug.
No, what were they at, actually? Because they just let this dog and it just went berserk.
All it did was it got loose and went berserk, right? So then it tries to attack.
I mean, but what were they responding to?
It was a funeral. They weren't. It was a funeral because what it was there was that shooting in Midtown Manhattan the other week, and a police officer was shot dead. So this was a funeral for him, and they brought the dog to the funeral, and it got loose, right? And it just ran loose again. This is not a crime scene. They're not pursuing suspects, right? These are just random people on the street.
Right.
So
he lets it out of the truck, and it just went berserk.
Tries to attack umbrella guy, right? Then it tries to attack this guy, right? He's not a suspect either, right? So then, the cop is trying to the cop's not going after either of them because they're not suspects. They're not doing anything wrong. The only thing.
Well, no one is a suspect. They're at a funeral.
Yeah. So the dog. So now the cop is trying to get the dog under this. They got their out of control weapon. He's trying to get it under control. Right. So then the dog, keeps going. Then it tries to attack this guy, right? So the dog, he's trying to attack a third person. Again, somebody who's not a suspect. He's not breaking any laws. He's not doing anything wrong. Right? So now he tries to attack, he's bit down on their shirt, and the cops are trying to pull it off, right?
Police said the man who was.
Oh, good boy. Not this time, though.
Yeah. Such a good boy. Look at the eyes on that thing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Will be.
Well, the way they train them, that's like their play. Yeah.
It's like a
Like,
shark. It's like a shark. It's a land shark. Look at that thing.
Well, if you watch those police training videos and these people have like fire protective turnout gear, which is pretty thick. I was a firefighter at one time, or a volunteer firefighter. Yeah, that shit's heavy and thick. And then a bunch of like duct tape and some stuff taped around their arms. And that's how that's their play. That's how they train these things. So it's like, this thing was just looking at, and then they're rewarded. Oh, good boy, you got a good chunk out of that criminal. Take a bite out of crime.
They don't. You know? That's the whole thing is like this whole thing. Well, it's based on dog worship, but it's anthropomorphization. The dog is too stupid. If you train him until hell freezes over, it's too stupid to understand who's a perp and who isn't. Like,
it's got too much bloodlust.
In my ideal is that dogs, no domestic animal really, but dogs should never, ever aggress towards a human for any reason. I don't care. I don't give a flying fuck if it's a reincarnation of Jack the Ripper. You know why? Because the dog is too stupid to know that. Even when the dog does attack somebody who has it coming or whatever, it's pure moral luck, because the dog is too stupid to understand what is a threat, who is a perp, who's breaking the law, etc. They're oblivious to that. They just see something that they want to attack and they attack it. That's it. And that needs to stop.
Well, it's definitely an intimidation factor. That old video, remember the one of the lady by the dumpster, the black lady, and the dog had a hold of one of her body parts, and she's like, "Oh, they do, what do they do?" And the cops are like, "You didn't do nothing, ma'am. I'm sorry. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This lady is just dumping her trash. She lives in the place wherever the cops were doing their thing, and this thing latched onto her. And as someone who has suffered traumatic injury to my wrist, and stuff, and don't have complete full use, it's like something like that can destroy your life. To have something like bite and tear and destroy your nerves, take off skin, rip out muscle. And you're just some person dumping your trash, and this thing happens to be any of them. Police dogs, any dog. It's like that ruins your life.
These things are promoted as a way to uphold the law and promote public safety.
No, it's intimidation. It's like police state bullshit.
Well, it's that, but what's interesting is like, there's I talk about in a liberal, quote, society, there's a trade-off to be made between civil rights and public safety. But from my perspective, this fails both of those things. Like, it's not like, okay, we're going to infringe rights a little bit to promote safety, or infringe safety a little bit to promote rights. This fails everything, because it's a public safety fail and it's a civil rights fail. Because you talk about like these sniffer dogs.
No, that's a get around. Dogs. That's a get around. Oh, my dog thinks you have marijuana in your car or something.
Right. Yeah, the sniffer dogs fail, even as that, 80% of the time. Some of those are false positives. So they think, okay, if Rover doesn't react to somebody taking a bomb onto the plane, is that a good thing? So yeah, they're like harassing somebody. The dog is attacking somebody who's got like a candy bar in their pocket, right? Meanwhile, somebody with a backpack full of like Composition B just waltzes onto the airplane, right? And that kind of, it's a hypothetical scenario, illustrates why this is an epic fail in every way and at every level.
Well, there was something, I don't remember where I saw it, about the cadaver dogs, and it's like they to train them, and they had to put treats out, and I don't know. And sometimes even on the crime scene, they were saying they had to kind of put treats out and whatever.
Yeah.
No, you know.
What the thing is, they say like the search and rescue dogs, like even if they find somebody, they only do it when the handler shows them where to look. But
yeah, something obvious that a human could see by ease.
If the handler knows where the body is, what good does the dog do? Right? The dogs literally, they do nothing.
Of them.
They do nothing useful on their own. Nothing.
Yep. Nope. In fact, you know, that goes back to slave intimidation days. And it's like, I would think that
I guess the dogs have so much political capital that doesn't matter. That's the problem. Right? If this were expressed any other way, that would gain track from anybody. Like, because it's not, the police aren't even directing the dog. The dog is completely out of their control.
Yeah. No. Yeah. God. I did a story. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I went up into the Kern Mountains, and I had to go up with a BLM guy and his dog. The dog was quiet and everything, but I was just thinking, oh God. I don't know. Up in the Kern County mountains, there's like illegal pot growers and shit like that, even though it's legal in this state, and just all kinds of stuff. But it was a little intimidating, and I thought, oh my God, does this thing like smell residue on my hands or what? Because it was, I don't know how they teach them different ways to signal. Like when we came back from Jamaica, they said, if there's a puddle by your luggage, keep walking, because that means the dog, smelled drugs on your bags there. So just keep walking, don't claim it. So, but they have different ways of signaling, putting up a paw or whatever, they do. So I don't know. I don't know if the dog was signaling or whatever. It did something, because I think they're supposed to not have any interaction. But whatever. There was that one case.
You're like, they can, I'm sure, get stuff. But like this situation, what's being expressed here is this is basically like the worst of the worst. Like, and this is not uncommon, right? Like a police dog just going berserk and attacking a bunch of random people. It happens all the time.
Well, there was that one like years ago in Pasadena, and they had some kind of community parade, and I think that's where Ashley got a petition to get that dog off the force. There was a kid standing at the kind of the front of the line, or the parade, the closest to where you could see it passing by, and a police dog. He was an autistic kid, like 5, 6 years old, and the dog bit him pretty good, like ripped part of his face or his lip or something off. He wasn't doing anything. The kid he was just an autistic kid. He was too close to the dog when it passed by or something, and it bit him. And, I signed that petition. And supposedly the dog got taken off the force.
Should have been euthanized immediately. And one thing I'd like to see, I would push for, because, I'm like adamant that we need to criminalize dog attacks, going after the owner.
Oh, big time.
I would like, it'd be like, if I could have one wish, it would be like in a case like that, like you indicated, not just put the dog down, but arrest the police officer for assault. Like, let's say that officer had just pulled out a gun and shot the kid. He'd be in a lot of trouble, people would be screaming over. But again, it's always like, if it's a dog, it's all good. But in any case, the first time, if you do that, we get one of them arrested and sent to prison. The police dogs are gone. They're done.
Oh my God! But no, you'd have all the ACAB people out. Oh my God! They killed the dog. It was just so nervous.
Well, actually, you know, forget
in the
about
parade,
the
and
dog.
didn't know what to do.
Forget about the dog. I'm talking about going after the canine two-legged officer. Go after, because they're the ones that, you know, would you want to be a canine officer after that, knowing that, yeah, if your dog goes ballistic and attacks somebody, you're going to jail? Be like, fuck that. Because that's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
They're totally unstable and unpredictable. So what happened is like, yeah, nobody they'd be gone because the dogs would be gone because nobody would want to handle them. It's too much risk. They're not going to do that because right now, yeah, they get away with it. You know, maybe like the city gets sued, but so what? They don't care. They're like,
yeah, it doesn't come out of their pocket.
You know,
but
it doesn't come out of their pocket. And it's like, even if the dog is taken out of circulation or put down even, that's the problem with letting dog people off the hook. They just go out and get dogs,
it's probably living in someone's backyard, a retired cop's backyard or something. And, you know, God knows. They don't go to the picnic at their house.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with all of them. Oh, it's not the dog, it's the owner. Okay, right. The owner is charged with freaking murder or aggravated assault or aggravated assault on a police officer because there was just one of those too.
Yep.
Charge the owners. Yes, it is the owner. It is the dog. Yeah. But it is the owner too. And you're charged with murder.
It's just basic civics. I mean, you know what? If they want to bring these, like even with the canine officers, it's like, you know what? If you want to use these things, they need to be accountable for what they do. And you know what? If that's still a liability, then they can't use them.
But still, there's no solace for the victim, an innocent victim, particularly in police dog cases or other. If you get your tendons ripped out of your arm and you can't, work again, it's like whatever. It's like that has destroyed that person's life.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, well, that's the thing is that, when we take steps and just eliminating them entirely, because that's the thing is, it's like, okay, if we actually start prosecuting these canine handlers, because you can't undo the past, right? But all you can do is do better going forward. So, yeah, we go after these people, we get these programs canceled, and then there aren't any more cases like that. So,
I think it's a tough uphill battle because just revert back to your how you were ostracized on NextDoor and how everyone is ostracized when they just speak some rationality, man. It's like,
if there's enough,
please don't bring that in the grocery store. Please don't put it in the grocery cart. My God. Or the farmers markets or those pop-up things. I went to a pop-up thing like down the road and like last summer or something. And it was like, so there were like 3 rows of tents of different vendors and stuff. And it's like, yeah, there's a dog person's blow-nellying and this one over here is barking at that one over here. And it's like, oh my God, man, just leave home without it, please. Leave home without it.
Yeah.
That credit card commercial, don't leave home without it. Well, in this case, leave home without it, please.
Yeah.
My God, stop. Make it stop.
Anyway, I think I need to wrap this up. It's getting kind of late on this coast, but
yeah, well, you better put a disclaimer that this is our evening. This is our evening destroyed, tired brains.
Plus, we're using all this new technology, too, because I don't know if did we include this in the recording, but, yeah, the shutdown of Skype was really kind of sucked for this because it was easy to use. It was free to use. It was convenient. Everybody had it, so I could
destroy that
I could record the call, and then of course, I'd have to do some work on it. And I'm probably, just to let you know, I'm probably going to tweak some of this, but because I always do. But, so what I'm doing is here, we're on Discord, we're talking. There's a Discord video call. But I'm recording, which Discord doesn't have a record feature, or at least not the version of Discord that I have. So I'm recording it in OBS Studio. So I'm actually, the call is on one piece of software. The recording of the call is on another piece of software. And the editing of the call is on another piece of software. And that's even before it gets uploaded to YouTube. So who knows what we'll come up with. Hopefully it'll be good stuff. But anyway, I think I'm going to stop the call soon. But with all that said, this is Animal on Control. And as always, people first. Bye, folks.